Donald Trump is surprising us every day, and he is making very interesting moves after winning the U.S. presidency. First unexpected message that he made was about how Newsom did a terrible job in California and why he should resign. Trump shared new, unexplainable details and highlighted the complete incompetence of the California government during the latest terrible wildfire, details they didn't want people to know about. These are some mind-boggling revelations from Trump. So let's explain everything. So Donald Trump shared his thoughts on Truth Social about the latest wildfire in California, blaming Newsom, and Trump revealed what really happened, what people should know about this terrible event. As you know, Trump famously said, "One of the best and most beautiful parts of the United States of America is burning down to the ground. It's ashes, and Gavin Newsom should resign. This is all his fault." Well, during his recent trip to California, Donald Trump took aim at state leaders, accusing them of gross mismanagement in handling the latest wildfires. Speaking about the situation, he pointed to what he described as preventable conditions that allowed the fires to escalate. Everything was dry and it was an inferno. You know, they created an inferno, Trump said, emphasizing that better forest management and preventative measures could have significantly mitigated the damage. He criticized the state for failing to act decisively in addressing the underlying issues contributing to the wildfires. Trump also targeted water management policies, alleging that California leaders are not effectively utilizing resources to combat such disasters. "We are demanding that they turn the valve, Los Angeles," he stated, accusing officials of wasting water that could otherwise help address the crisis. He went on to question their motives. Why aren't they doing it? Either they are stupid or there is something else going on that we don't understand. But we want the water that they are throwing away to be used for California. Trump called for a more logical and proactive approach, urging that the water being thrown away should be redirected to serve Californians in need. Before that, Trump also denounced Newsom and Joe Biden for their handling of these wildfires. Trump said, "The fires in Los Angeles may go down in dollar amount as the worst in the history of our country." But why Trump is so harsh on Newsom? Well, the recent wildfires in California have exposed significant shortcomings in the state's preparedness and response strategies. One major issue was the inadequate maintenance of critical water infrastructure. The Santa Ynez Reservoir in Pacific Palisades, which holds 117 million gallons of water, had been offline since early 2024 due to necessary repairs on its floating cover. This prolonged downtime resulted in insufficient water pressure during the fires, severely hampering firefighting efforts. Residents and officials have criticized the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power for these lapses, leading Governor Gavin Newsom to call for an independent investigation into the department's handling of the situation. Additionally, budgetary decisions have been called into question. In June 2024, Governor Newsom reduced the state's firefighting budget by $101 million, bringing it down to $2.6 billion, just months before the devastating wildfires occurred. Simultaneously, significant funds were allocated to other initiatives, such as the $14.7 billion committed to transitioning California to zero-emission vehicles and other clean energy projects. Critics argue that these financial choices reflect a misalignment of priorities, potentially compromising the state's ability to effectively prevent and respond to wildfires. That's why Trump was so critical. So January 24th, Trump made his first trip of this term, visiting areas affected by major disasters. He started in western North Carolina, hit hard by the hurricanes, where he criticized FEMA, calling it a very big disappointment. Later, he went to Los Angeles, which has been devastated by wildfires, and shook hands with Gavin Newsom. Governor Newsom said California will need federal help and hopes they can work together. Trump assured him, "We're going to get it fixed." While their cooperation might seem unusual for rivals, it's similar to how Newsom worked with Trump during the early COVID-19 crisis in 2020. Trump thanked Newsom for meeting him at the airport in Los Angeles. Newsom's office stated he is focused on working with the federal government to support Californians. Later, Trump said he had a very good talk with California governor. His comments came after he toured Pacific Palisades, a neighborhood badly damaged by recent fires. Trump said you can't fully grasp how bad the destruction is just by looking at pictures. "I don't think you can realize how rough it is, how devastating it is, until you see it," Trump stated. He hasn't yet mentioned putting conditions on federal aid, as he's previously indicated he would do. Also, during the interview with Fox News, Trump criticized California's water policies, claiming the state prioritizes protecting species like the Delta smelt over ensuring enough water for cities and farming. He stated, "I don't think we should give California anything until they let the water flow down," repeating his belief that the state poorly manages its resources. California officials, including Ashley Overhouse from Defenders of Wildlife, have denied Trump's claims. Overhouse explained to ABC News that protecting the Delta smelt only affects about 1.2% of water outflow and has no impact on firefighting water availability. In response, Newsom also denied Trump's claims. It's interesting to point out that earlier, Trump also criticized both Newsom and ex-President Joe Biden for their handling of the disaster. He wrote, "In many circles, they're doubting whether insurance companies will even have enough money to pay for this catastrophe. Let this serve and be emblematic of the gross incompetence and mismanagement of the Biden-Newsom duo." Newsom responded by saying over 7,500 firefighters are working with local and federal teams to control the fires. He urged residents on X and said, "Remain vigilant tonight. Listen to local officials and be ready to evacuate if you're near impacted areas." Newsom also criticized Trump for making the situation political. "People are literally fleeing. Kids have lost their schools. Communities have lost their churches. Families have lost their homes. Some have even lost their lives. And the president-elect's response is to politicize it," he wrote. It's important to mention that between 2020 and 2024, Newsom faced significant criticism from various quarters, including political opponents and environmentalists, over his wildfire prevention and management strategies. Additionally, bureaucratic hurdles and environmental regulations were cited as factors delaying essential fire prevention projects, leading to accusations that Newsom prioritized political agendas over effective wildfire management. These actions, coupled with allegations of mismanagement and misleading the public, intensified scrutiny of Newsom's leadership during a period marked by devastating wildfires across California. Therefore, Trump threatened to withhold federal disaster aid from California unless the state altered its water management policies. He claimed that the state's efforts to protect certain fish species, such as the Delta smelt, were causing water shortages critical for firefighting in urban areas. This assertion was part of a broader critique of Newsom's environmental policies, which Trump argued prioritized wildlife over human needs, thereby hindering effective disaster response. This situation is similar to what happened when the tension between Trump and Newsom escalated during the 2021 California gubernatorial recall election. Trump supported the recall efforts, criticizing Newsom's leadership on various fronts, including his handling of the COVID-19 pandemic and statewide restrictions. He suggested that Newsom's policies were detrimental to California's economy and public health, aligning himself with those advocating for the governor's removal. Despite these criticisms, there were moments when both leaders attempted to display unity. Publicly, they emphasized the need for collaboration to aid recovery efforts. And that's it for today.